Hello, welcome back to the second episode of my as yet untitled UFC MMA betting tipping podcast. Today is the 7th of May 2018, obviously. But to get into today, just you may notice, or you probably won't actually, but the last video I could hear my chair squeaking throughout it, which was fucking incredibly annoying. So I've got a real uncomfortable chair, but it's less noisy, so you won't have that. If that noise bugged the hell out of you last time, then you won't have to put up with that, which is really good. Got lots of feedback, mostly really good, which is real nice because I do understand this is very amateurish at this point. There's lots of improvements I want to make if I do indeed continue, which I think I will because I enjoyed it, got good feedback, and have nothing better to do, so I fucking may as well, right? Places you can contact me, my email is louknux@gmail, that's LOUKNUX. I send questions, comments, feedback, whatever you want there. You can vilify me via email. My, what is it? My Twitter and my Instagram is LouisNux Louis with a IE at the end. And my Bet MMA Tips handle is LouisNux. So LOUIEKNUXX. Yeah, and you can track my betting on there, see if I am indeed winning money, which I am, and I can't wait for another event after 3 weeks this weekend, and yeah, I'm quite confident. So, last week I talked about Alberto Mina, and I was considering putting a bet on him at $2.75, and I indeed did. So I bet two units on Alberto Mina. If you want to know why, go back to the first video. It should be linked to this. I'll figure out how to do that. I'm real fucking what's the word? I'm not very skilled in this department as of yet, but I'll pick it up. So I'll attempt to link that. If not, you'll be able to find it under my account name. So the reasons for betting on Mina all stated in that first video. I was weighing it up at the time and then decided to go with it. And I also took a look at during the week, the Hermansson Lati's fight. I'm not going to watch all the fights again because some of them were fucking incredibly boring. But I did put 4 units on Hermansson. I think if I recall correctly, what I saw was Hermansson used really good movement. He kind of because what are they, welterweight or middle? And Hermansson kind of moves around not exactly the same, but reminiscent of TJ Dillashaw or Dominic Cruz. Like he uses heaps of movement, switching stance, constantly on the move. And I feel like Thales Latis, an older guy, doesn't appear to be real nimble in there, and I think Hermansson may be able to pick him apart. Like Hermansson uses that movement, but he still engages. He's not one of these guys that just stays on the outside and fucking dances around the octagon the whole fight. He does leap in and engage, and he's quite effective. So I think he's gonna get the win over Thales later. So I put 4 units there as well. I also put a parlay on, but it's not showing up in my thing. So, but yeah, parlays are more for fun. I'm 1-1 out of my parlays, so they can pay off, I guess. But yeah, we'll see how we go with that. I'll try to get it registering on my Bet MMA thing and see how we go from there. That Bellator 198 turned out to be not too bad. Heaps of subs. Fedor fight was exciting, thankfully, because those Bellator main events with the old guys in them have the potential to be just fucking depressing. But it was actually an exciting fight. Fedor got a like vintage Fedor KO, so that was exciting. It's just I find Bellator quite hard to watch because it's almost the whole broadcast comes off kind of patronizing because you know it's not the first rate product. First, they have some real good fighters in there, but it's just like, and the commentary team and guys on the desk have to pretend that like this is the big leagues, and it kind of doesn't feel like it, and it's a bit patronizing somewhat. But yeah, good event for them, I think, and ultimately I did enjoy it. Uh, Incredible submissions. Dylan Dennis getting the sub, uh, being terrible at talking shit once again, and pissing everyone off, but it's working for him. He's got the attention, and we'll see what happens next with him. Um, I'll go into some of the feedback we got during the week. Where is it? Just gonna have a look here. Excuse me, I'm not as organized as I should be. Got like 3 computers in front of me. And, here we are. Try not to play the video. So he had some funny ones, but had Lily Sleep saying you should do another show, man. I think they might be talking about music and not another podcast, but so I am doing another podcast. Shows, not so sure. For those who don't know, I used to make music and kind of still do. Maybe we'll find out in the future. What else we got? Jill said, I hope Cooper knocks Dern out, which I also do because that means I make money. So thanks, Jill. Here's one. What's up, man? It's Indivino. Strange name. Cool name if that's your real name. I think you did a great job. Please keep up the good work. I really enjoyed the show and I'm looking forward to the next one. Have a good one and enjoy the fights. Thank you very much. I will, and I hope you enjoy the fights also. Very nice to get your feedback. What do we got here? I can't even try and pronounce that. But what's up from Texas? You did a great job, man, especially for your first video. Keep it up, dude. And I just subbed. Thank you, bro. Shout out to you all the way over in Texas. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please do subscribe. It helps, and give the videos thumbs up. Obviously, fuck, it sounds tired saying that shit, but I do need to remind people so we get them subscriptions and likes and all that bullshit. And then some guy calling himself Clay Dog Madman, which is an immediate red flag. If you name yourself Clay Dog Madman, I have to well, there should just be an automatic thing on YouTube that if you enter a username like that, it prevents you from commenting or engaging with other people because you're clearly not ready. But he said, Nameless Opinion is a good name for your podcast, which I think is supposed to be a dig at me. But if you do recall, I clearly stated at the beginning of the first video that I'm not an expert, I'm just a fan, and I've been doing well with the betting. So I decided to do the podcast, not pretending to be something I'm not. So, yeah, I am nameless in this field, and I don't expect people to fucking respect what I have to say. But if you're interested, you can, and that's the option. I don't have any expectations of people to, take everything I say as gospel. I'm just a fan watching, giving my thoughts, and they could be somewhat uneducated in the realm of MMA because I'm not a fucking expert, just a guy saying shit. So thank you, Clay Dog Man. I do appreciate your feedback. You could have been more creative if you're trying to take a poke, but creativity doesn't seem to be in your nature. So good luck with that. Um, got an email here from Mike. He says, Todd, love the podcast thus far. Keep it up. In regards to Stipe versus DC, who you got? DC paying $2.50 must be tempting. Glad this was brought up because I do have pretty strong feelings about this one. I really feel like DC is gonna win. If you look back, how he started off in heavyweight, he's undefeated. Then he moves to light heavyweight, which is probably you've seen him struggle with the weight cut. But he's also been incredible at light heavy, only ever losing to John Jones, who could be the best MMA fighter of all time. So, DC's record is incredible. I need to go back and watch his heavyweight fights, even though it's been a long time. But I feel like he's going to come back good at heavyweight. He's not going to have to do that cut. He's going to be faster than Stipe, I imagine. He's going to pressure him. I have some questions about Stipe's gas tank. Like, he obviously, his last fight is in there with Ngannou. And when Ngannou's just winging wild shots at you, I think he had a big adrenaline dump and then didn't recover real well for the rest of the fight. He didn't have enough to get Ngannou out of there when you kind of felt like he should have. And you've seen that before with Stipe with the Mark Hunt fight where he was completely dominating, but he couldn't get Mark Hunt out of there. I know Mark Hunt's tough as fuck, but I know, yep, Stipe has the record for most heavyweight title defenses. But I think if you look at his recent string of fights, I mean, Verdum just rushed at him like an idiot, got dropped. Overeem, we've seen what happens with Overeem. He has brain explosions and loses fights that he should win. He always seems to kind of fuck it up when he gets the big opportunity. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think his run is as impressive as people would have you think. And obviously Stipe is fucking good. But I don't know. DC, the competitor that he is, I think he's unparalleled in the sport for how much that guy wants to win. Like, you see him crying when he loses to Jones, and it's just he has this immense desire to compete and win, and I think he has the skills to do it as well. It'll be real interesting to see, because I don't think DC will necessarily be trying to get him to the ground, but he'll be trying to get him up against the fence, crowd him, just apply pressure, and DC can do that round after round after round. And I think he's going to try and put a pace on Stipe that Stipe can't handle, and then maybe get him out of there in the later rounds or win on points, which DC can do the 5 rounds, and I think he has a much greater ability to go the rounds than Stipe will, especially if DC can dictate the pace. Wouldn't be surprised to see DC make a statement early on, by picking Stipe up and fucking dumping him on his head, which, can you imagine? That would be fucking incredible. I may be a little biased. I'm a huge fan of DC. I love the personality that he is, the human that he is, and the competitor that he is. And I would love to see him make history. And you can't feel like he deserves it after what has happened with the Jones fights. And, those are his legacy fights. He needs to beat Jones for his legacy, but you feel like if he wins 2 bouts, holds them at the same time, that's his legacy cemented. And I want to see him go out like that as a 2-division champion, light heavyweight, 2 bouts. I think that would be fucking cool. Big announcement. Oh yeah, so in regards to that, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna bet on DC. There's a couple fights coming up like that I'm still not sure. I need to do more research. Like, Till was paying real good against Thompson, And without having done any research, I feel like Till might be a good bet in that fight. Like, I know if you listen to him talk and believe him, he will go into that fight supremely confident, and he will believe that he can get Thompson out of there. And Thompson, I don't know how he's going to come into this fight. Like, he's had those two terribly boring fights, and he needs to do something. If he wants a title shot again, he's got to do something crazy, because it's going to be real difficult for him to get them as long as Woodley's champ. So, real interesting fight there. But yeah, I'm going to watch some tape, watch some old heavyweight Cormier action, watch some Stipe stuff, and then place a bet, most probably, on DC. We'll see what happens. Big news for New Zealand MMA during the week. Israel Stylebender Adesanya announced in his first main event in his third fight against Brad Tavares during International Fight Week, nonetheless. So, pretty huge stuff for Adesanya. Interesting. Like, who the fuck am I to comment on the path they're taking, and what the fuck do I know? Like, actually, what do I know? But I did want to give my thoughts as a fan. Like, obviously, a huge fan of Israel. I've had a couple interactions with him in person, and he's a fucking good dude, and you want to back him, like, as a New Zealander, as an incredible fucking fighter, and as a fucking good human as well. So real invested in his career, obviously, and when the Tavares fight is announced, it's a little bit scary. Things are happening so fast. Main event in his third fight. I might have preferred to... Sorry, my screen just went up. I may have preferred to have seen him get the winner of Machida and Belfort. So, like, an older dude kind of on his way out. A guy he could have stood with. Because obviously, you know, same thing again. Tavares is going to try and wrestle for sure. Like, there's no way Tavares can hang with Izzy on the feet. So he's going to try and get the fight to the ground. I do like that he is getting those tests and proving himself in that regard. Like the Vettori fight, so many people on the Bet MMA site were betting Vettori because he was paying like $3 something. It's like, you're fucking dreaming. Like, this dude ain't going to beat him. And sure enough, he didn't. Shout out to Martin Vettori too, still pissing and moaning about the result that he clearly lost. Like, that dude's out of control. What the fuck is he up to? Yeah, and excited that I'm real interested to see what the odds come out for this fight as, because I feel like Israel might be the dog in this fight, which I'm gonna definitely fucking put money on him if he's the dog. He's been too much of a favorite thus far to put money on. So looking forward to the opportunity to watch one of my favorite fighters, local guy, and then win some money on the fight. Haven't watched much tape yet, but like, obviously Tavares' experience is a big factor going into this fight. He's been in the UFC since like 2011. In saying that, his finish against Jocko, who was coming off a shitty run, so there's questions about him. That was his first finish since, like, I forget, it might have been 2012. He has been on a winning streak, but all decisions, like, his career is decision. So, I don't know. I'm pretty confident. And, man, like, you gotta trust that team at City Kickboxing. They are obviously doing something very special over there. You look at Dan Hooker and what's happened with him, and Israel, what's happening with him. They got a bunch of other fighters doing incredible stuff. So, you know, I think they know what they're doing, and I'm a bit scared about how fast they're progressing him, but the team's got to know what's up, and I'm sure they're confident, and that gives me confidence. And yeah, I can't fucking wait for that fight. That's gonna be crazy to see him in a main event already. I was really hoping, because him and Hooker fought a week apart, I was hoping that they would put them on the same card next time round. And then, there's from their team also, there's Kai Cutter France, who was on the Ultimate Fighter, real exciting guy at 125, like, just who has a overhand right of a heavyweight, just knocking dudes out. And he's got to make his UFC debut shortly. And I was kind of had this fantasy of all three of them being on the same card. I was thinking they might do it at Singapore. It was just like a wild hunch, but obviously not happening. So still cool and still exciting. I think they're talking about something must have happened with the Felder thing with Dan Hooker, because that doesn't appear to be happening, and people are now talking about him versus Alex Hernandez, which is a great fight also, and can't wait to see what Dan Hooker does next. That's about it for this week, I believe. So once again, love getting the feedback and questions and stuff. Gives me content and a way to engage with you. Makes it way less what's the word, lonely, if I get to respond to stuff you guys are saying. Even the negative feedback, just make it funny or be creative or something, then I'll appreciate it. But if it's just then come on, man, step your game up. So questions, whatnot, best way is probably email, louknux@gmail.com. There's the Twitter, the Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, possibly. Actually, don't annoy me on Facebook, that's annoying. I think that's about it for this week. And shout out to the person on Facebook who said their mum followed some of my tips and made some money. That's fucking choice. Shout out to your mum. I'll be back next week. Got to start researching the card. There's so many cards coming up. It's going to be crazy. I don't know where I'm going to find the time to research fights properly and make wise wagers, but I'm looking forward to getting money week after week after week after week, and then buying the Maserati before the year's up. No. Thanks very much for listening again. I do really appreciate it. Looking at improving the quality very shortly. I want to get I'm recording on my phone at the moment, if you can't fucking tell, but I want to get a proper camera. I want to get a setup, a comfortable seat that doesn't squeak, all that shit, and improve this if you guys are into it, which it seems like we can do alright, and get some viewers happening. It is happening. We've had a good response to the first video, so yeah, keen to keep it up and make it better for you guys and keep improving. So thanks very much again for listening. Enjoy the fights this weekend, and let's make some fucking money. Yeah.